Tomorrow and tomorrow and tomorrow creeps at this penny pace from day to day.
I'm sure you'll know the reference without my having to name the play.
No, Danny, that's not the full quote.
Oh my god, don't be that person.
No, you're actually gonna want to hear this, trust.
Okay, fine.
Now, I'm no actor, so bear with me, but to the last syllable of recorded time, and all our yesterdays have lightened fools. The way to dusty death. Out, out, brief candle. Life's but a walking shadow. A poor player that struts and frets his hour upon the stage, and then is heard no more. It is a tale, told by an idiot, full of sound and fury, signifying nothing.
Oh, full of sound and fury. Why is that familiar?
Well, not to mention that it's Macbeth, like one of the most famous plays ever. It's also what we're talking about today, The Sound and the Fury.
Oh, right.
Hi, I'm Casey.
And I'm Danny.
Welcome, or welcome back to Art Is. Danny and I met in school and we both studied literature. We love books, we love talking about them, and we'll be talking about The Sound and the Fury by William Faulkner today.
William Faulkner was an American writer from Mississippi. He wrote plays, short stories, essays, but he's most well renowned for his novels.
Now, released in 1929, The Sound and the Fury was actually Faulkner's first successful novel, and it set the basis for this fictional county, which, bear with me now, is pronounced Yanapatawpha, which reoccurs in many of his novels and is loosely based on his hometown in Oxford, Mississippi.
This work is experimental for sure and gets a notorious reputation for being difficult for its stream of consciousness narrative. But Faulkner wrote this work after several unsuccessful novels, and he was convinced that he would never be published again while he was writing Sound and the Fury. But he went on to lead an exceptionally successful career and was awarded the Nobel Prize for his contributions to American literature in 1949. And he is a quintessential writer in the American Gothic tradition.
Hold up. Let's talk about Southern Gothic for a second. I think it's kind of important.
Okay, Casey, if you must.
Okay. Southern Gothic is an artistic subgenre. It's prevalent in literature, in film, in music, and it combines Gothic elements like decay and the macabre with settings and themes from the American South. And it often explores societal issues. It features grotesque, mentally disturbed or impoverished characters, bleak and decaying settings like old plantations, and dark humor to expose the hidden, disturbing realities of social injustices like racism and slavery that are underneath the surface of Southern society. Now, the Southern Gothic stems from the European Gothic tradition, which was defined by looking backwards into the decaying past of the Middle Ages, a past that, in some interpretations, was barbaric, while in others was full of a kind of tragic and dangerous enchantment. Now, Southern Gothic looks back not at the Middle Ages, but at the pre-Civil War South in a similar way.
Yeah, okay, I'll give it to you. That was a worthwhile digression. And this novel is all about trying to find meaning in the meaninglessness. Let's say the sound and the fury. It is divided into 4 sections which come together to tell the story of the fictional Compson family.
Alright, plot summary incoming, so this is your warning. There will be spoilers ahead. If you really care, go read the book, but then make sure to come back.
Each of these sections has a different narrator and is set on a different day. 3 of the days are on Easter weekend 1928, but they're out of order. The second section takes place 18 years earlier and is told from the perspective of Quentin. The novel, though confined to these 4 days, manages to tell the story of an entire generation of the Compsons.
All right. The first section of the novel follows one of the Compson children, Benji, who is severely mentally impaired. When I was first reading this section, I was completely thrown off by the date because the chapter jumps around all the time. That day, but also kind of across his entire lifetime of memories. And they're totally out of chronological order. And to make it worse, each scene, regardless of when it takes place, in a memory or in the moment, it's written as if it happened in the moment. So you see Benji, he's stuck in time. He's always immediately in the present, experiencing every moment as concurrent. He's a man-child, kind of unable to recognize time the way that children are. But still, he's able to feel profoundly, but not able to ask why. He's fixated on his sister Caddy, who's kind of the only person able to console him, and he's always longing for Caddy, but he can't understand why he's longing, and he can't understand why Caddy leaves home when she leaves to go get married. Benji repeatedly says of Caddy, "She smells like leaves."
The next section is set 18 years prior and follows Quentin, the smart, oldest, educated brother. He is sent to Harvard and is bright and intelligent, but unable to get over the fact that his sister, Caddy, has become pregnant out of wedlock and will soon be divorced from her husband. In this section, Quentin also jumps through time, constantly breaking from present into past. He spends the day wandering around Massachusetts where he meets a poor Italian girl at a bakery and tries to help get her home. When he finally finds her family, he is accused of kidnapping, arrested, and forced to pay bail.
This is representative of Quentin as a character. He loves, but it's an evil love because it's for his sister. And he tries to do good, but he can't help but attract those who suffer. And he really can't let anything go, whether it be the suffering people, the values of an antiquated age, or even really his own past. Quentin's section, which might be my favorite, is full of powerful anecdotal stories, but a particularly striking one is when he flashes back to an instant when his father gave him a watch. Now, this watch was the symbol of a proud Compson past, but for Quentin, it was only a reminder that he's ticking forward into decline. Quentin tries to smash his watch. He tries to stop time, to go back, but the hands keep moving forward. He can't break the watch. And at the end of his section, Quentin commits suicide. Here, Faulkner hints at why the novel is called The Sound and the Fury. Uncontent and dreading his tomorrows, Quentin is unable to bear another. He's unable to be a fool or a philosopher.
The third section is from Jason's perspective, the younger brother who never got a chance. He's always overshadowed by his other siblings, the promiscuous sister, the man-child brother, and the other brilliant Harvard-going brother. He is particularly hurt by the loss of a banking job from Caddy's husband when they divorce, and is stuck partially raising Caddy's child, who, if this novel wasn't confusing enough, is also named Quentin. Miss Quentin.
Jason is totally consumed with this future, always saving, planning, and scheming for a better tomorrow. In fact, he's so set on his future that he steals all of the money that Caddy, who's living away from the family, sends back for Miss Quentin, her daughter. Yet, eventually fed up with this mistreatment, Miss Quentin steals back the money and uses it to go run away and join the circus with a so-called man in a red tie. So, obviously, Jason's plans for a rich future never work out. Instead, he just breeds more cruelty, making him resentful and skeptical of everyone around him.
The last section of this novel you expect will be from the perspective of Caddy. We've seen Benji's perspective, Quentin's perspective, and Jason's perspective. But instead, it is in the third person, and it most closely follows their black servant, Dilsey. This is nicknamed the Dilsey section, And Dilsey perhaps has the most reason to be resentful and cruel, but finds a way to break through her past, present, and future. She loves the family despite their treatment of her, and finds purpose despite the purposelessness. Dilsey is maybe the only character in the novel to have a healthy relationship with time. She's comfortable going through routine, day to day, taking care of herself and of others, neither forgetting the past or the future or being consumed by them. Unlike the Compsons do with Caddy, when Dilsey's daughter Franny gets pregnant, she takes care of the child, Luster.
Now, Dilsey's section throws into stark clarity the way that the Compson family, and in some ways the whole old white South, couldn't adapt to a new, modern, and unordered world. The Compsons are destroyed by the sound and the fury of life, all with the possible exception of Miss Quinton and her departure into the beautiful and absurd circus. Yet, Dilsey finds her way in a new world, and a big part of that is religion. In this last section, she attends an Easter morning sermon on eternity and rebirth. The preacher, though shabby in appearance, is a true performer. His movements across the pulpit are like dance, and his words of reassurance are like a song. And at the end of the sermon, Dilsey cries, but totally unabashedly. She cries in front of everyone, and she says she has seen the beginning, and now she has seen the end. She, too, laments the changes that come, but she keeps her chin up, and she faces tomorrow with pride. She later finds comfort saying, "I did the best I can. The Lord knows that."
Okay, but Casey, why should we care about The Sound and the Fury? Why does it have the hold on the literary canon that it does, and what makes this so important?
Wow, Dan, you always ask the killer questions. Well, aside from this being just a fantastic story and a masterclass in writing, I think The Sound of the Fury is really important because of its place in American modernism. Now, modernism is the artistic movement following the devastation of World War I. This kind of post-industrial period really marked the end of the world as it was known for the entire rest of human existence, and the beginning of our new, fast-paced, ever-changing, simultaneously globalized, and fractured reality. Think of T.S. Eliot's The Wasteland, probably the most well-known modernist poem. It depicts the graves of World War I soldiers, the wasteland of death and meaninglessness that comes from technological war. But also the poem is beautiful in its own right, and it looks towards a broadening future. Flowers grow out of the graves.
Wow, Casey, and you just always have the killer answers. And I think the very last scene of this novel also holds some answers for us. The last few pages of this novel take place on a Sunday evening and follow the family as they visit their dead relatives, from Grandpa Jason to Quentin. Benji always brings with him a flower from the garden, and this time his flower, a spring narcissus, is broken until Dilsey splints it with some string and a stick. However, when Luster, who is driving, takes Benji on a different route, Benji explodes. He can't take it. Faulkner describes it as there was more than astonishment in it. It was horror, shock, agony, eyeless, tongueless, just sound and Luster's eyes back-rolling for a white instant. And this is the true Sound and Fury. The unfamiliar path that was the 20th century, that was America after the Civil War. In this scene, Jason reappears to set Benji and Luster back on track, but in doing so, he breaks Benji's already splinted flower. Benji comes down when he's on the familiar ride home, but his flower is perpetually broken.
We hope that you enjoyed this episode of Art is Books and are excited to keep reading, whether it be this novel or another.
Thanks for your support, and we hope you enjoyed this episode. This has been Art is Books. Did you think we almost forgot food for thought? Because no, don't even worry. That would never happen, not even for a second. Well, while we were reading this book, we were talking about what we should do for food for thought, and we were comparing Hemingway and Faulkner and like reading them in the different styles, and we decided that reading Hemingway is kind of like eating like a crisp, delicious salad, and reading Faulkner is kind of like eating like a rich, yummy stew. So for our food for thought today, I have a delicious stew. It's chicken and mushrooms and like celery and all kinds of goodness. So yummy. Food for thought. There we go. Done.